Fit to Love, episode 99, Sexual Fitness.
Fit to Love is physical, emotional, and spiritual fitness to achieve the happy life you deserve. From exercise to cooking, relationships, and spirituality, you'll find all the inspiration you need right here with our host, JJ Flizanes.
Hello and welcome to Fit to Love Sexy Saturdays. Today's show, Sexual Fitness. This show was actually done around the time of the first launch of Fit to Love, and I was being interviewed by Adelaide O'Dunton. Adelaide is the owner of Healthier Living, and she and I created the 6-week Beachbody program together. Now, on her calls that she does for her community, she wanted to bring me on to talk about the book and to introduce the idea of sexual fitness and what I'm talking about in Fit to Love to her audience. So I hope you'll enjoy the show. But first, I need to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Do you want to look and feel years younger? Learn more about your hormone health and how to get properly tested. Sign up for the Healthy Hormone Kit at nourishingwellness.com. It features the essential tests you need to tell your doctor to order for you to learn more about your current levels. Plus, you'll receive lots of healthy eating and lifestyle tips to improve your hormone health naturally. Again, that's www.nourishingwellness.com. Is your website working for you? If it's not, and you're frustrated with your brand, website, or current online results, Every Angle Media can help transform your existing business presence and build you a website that works when you're not working. Every Angle Media is a full-service web development firm that specializes in solving problems with open-source solutions. We offer complete design services, custom content management systems, fully integrated e-commerce solutions, cross-platform mobile development, and custom third-party integration, and we're here to help. Visit our site to see our work at everyanglemedia.com or give us a call at 310-798-7228. Again, that's everyanglemedia.com.
Today, we have JJ Flizanes, and JJ has been both a friend and a partner of mine in terms of our businesses coming together because we shared a passion for many of the same things. And she is both a wonderful teacher and now a wonderful author. She's actually an Amazon.com best-selling author of Fit to Love, How to Get Physically, Emotionally, and Spiritually Fit to Attract the Love of Your Life, and also NAC, Absolute Abs, Routines for a Fit and Firm Core. What I love about JJ and what was impressed me when I met her is that not only was she somebody who embodied the principles that she was teaching as a fitness expert, but because she was a fitness expert with a difference. Many of us have been exposed to different trainers and a lot of wonderful trainers, I guess, who teach you about getting yourself in shape. But she really understood the science of the body and also is someone who has a spiritual foundation and kind of appreciated many of the elements that go into what it takes essentially to be healthy and fit emotionally, physically, and spiritually and mentally, that it took the whole package to create that. And that was something that I was very drawn to, and we created our Beachbody program because we all understand everybody wants a beach body, but what we really did in that program was to deal with the mental and spiritual and emotional aspects that underlay what it took to come to terms with the body that you have and how to make the best of it. So I really have a true appreciation of her work, and I'm very proud of her for this book that she has written, because I think that when you have an opportunity to read JJ's book, you'll see it is not the same old fitness book. It really addresses things that you don't necessarily see in every fitness book, and it comes at it from a very different direction. And that was one of the things that I really appreciated, whether you're somebody who is dealing with your weight loss and body issues, or you're just someone who's already in a relationship and wants to really enhance the quality of your relationship and the intimacy that you have with your partner, or whether you're single and just looking to find that love of your life, there is something in this book that will help you make the changes that will draw those things, attract them into your life. So I was very excited when she actually said to me, I would love to come and share the core of this information that is in her book and give people an experience and a taste of what she's writing about. And I think what she's writing about is really important and touches all of our lives. So, JJ, I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Adelaide. It's a pleasure to be here. This is really fun work, and it's fun because it does fuse all aspects of our core desires, if you will, the mental, the physical, and the emotional, and the spiritual, because most of us go after, we need something in our lives, and we go after one direction where we want to work on that one piece. It's almost like saying I'm going to spot reduce in the body. It's actually the same principle. Many people say, I want to lose weight here, or I want to tighten up this one area. And if it was that easy, and if it worked, forget about easy or hard. If it worked, then we'd all be doing it. It'd be really simple. You'd spend however many days or months or weeks on one body part until you got the way you wanted, and you'd move on to the next one. But it doesn't work like that. It's a whole unit, and there's several things going on at the same time, and finding the balance of how they all intertwine and work together and play off each other is really getting to the mastery level of knowing your body and what you need in your spirit and your desires and your ability to discern what will help rebalance and re-energize all these three parts and all these things that work together. So it's really fun, so I'm happy to be here today.
Great. Well, I am going to ask you some questions. One of the things I guess we all want to know, because the title, Sexual Fitness, is something that I'm sure tweaks a lot of our listeners. What do you mean by sexual fitness?
That's a very good question. First, I will say that sexual fitness is step number 2 of the 5 steps in Fit to Love.
Do you want to go over the 5 steps, or are you quite happy?
No, I don't think there'll really be too much time. If anyone's interested in the 5 steps, obviously you can buy the book. It's on Amazon, or go to my website. There's a link directly to the book on Amazon, or you can download for free a 4-week plan. And in the 4-week plan, I don't go over the essence of each step, but I do give you ideas of how to work each step in a 4-week plan. And that's at fittolove.info. Love.info if you're interested in that. So step 2 of the 5-step process is sexual fitness. And I just want to read the quote that I have in the book. It's one is not born a woman, one becomes one. And I would say the same for a man. I would say the same for anybody. It's not just, this isn't a book just for women. In fact, most of the testimonials and the stories in this book are men. So sexual fitness really breaks up into 3 different parts. We're going to break it into the first part being the physical aspect, the second being your sexual essence, and the third being your emotional well-being. So sexual fitness is really, my definition of sexual fitness is the state or condition of being sexually, emotionally, and physically fit as a result of exercise, proper nutrition, and spiritual alignment. Now, that's my definition. That's the Fit to Love, J.J. Flazane's definition of sexual fitness. So what I'm going to do is break this into 3 parts to cover all 3 of those things, the physical, your sexual essence, and your emotional well-being.
Sex, whether you are in a relationship or out of a relationship, it is something that pushes a lot of buttons, whether you're having it or whether you're not. And so when you talk about physical fitness in relationship to that and sexual fitness, I think it just brings up a lot of emotion for people. So I'd love to hear what you mean by physical fitness in terms of the physical aspect of sexual fitness.
Absolutely. So all those emotions that it brings up, that's the third part that we'll deal with a little bit later in the call. But the first part, the physical part, well, obviously sex is physical, sort of like an exercise. It's sort of like a sport. And just like any other sport, lots of people do sport-specific training to get better at their sport. However, interestingly enough, there are a lot of fit people who don't last very well and very long in sex, or don't have the mobility or flexibility. So what I did was I looked at sex. And, of course, there's many different things that people can do. Everyone's bodies and capabilities and preferences are going to dictate the sort of positions that you hold and the things that you do and all that good stuff. But we're really not training. I mean, lots of people think that just because I'm fit, it means I'm going to be good in bed and I'm going to last. But you have to look at your exercise program. It doesn't mean just because you're exercising that it's going to translate into being able to do what you need to do in the bedroom. So I broke it up into 6 different areas for the physical body. All right, so let's go over. The first one is cardio. Let's talk about cardio. There are a lot of recent trends right now going on with cardiovascular exercise that have to do with blasting and interval training at high rates and short bursts. And that's all fine, and that's definitely burns more calories, and it can increase your threshold, and it can help you burn more fat more efficiently, and it has a lot of benefits. But and if that's how you have sex, that's great. But for a lot of people, there's endurance that's needed. And so people are skipping over the endurance training thinking that, well, I'm just going to do these short interval training blasts to burn the fat and to get it done quickly. But, unless you want to be a, one-pump chump or get sex done really quickly, then that's not going to serve you in the bedroom. So looking at adding back in some more steady-state cardiovascular work so you can maintain, it's enjoyable, or it should be enjoyable. And if it is enjoyable and you don't want it to be over right away, and you want to sort of milk it and last and enjoy the process, then you have to be ready to endure the process. So endurance training needs to be added back in. So that's the first part. So the second is upper body. So, since lovemaking rarely resembles lifting weights, I'm suggesting, and I give some very specific exercises in the book that people can start doing. One would be isometric training. So isometric training is when you're holding something, right? Because often, if you find a good position, you want to hold it. But do you have the strength to hold it? That's the next question. So using your upper body strength to, again, practice endurance. So if you want to build some arm muscles, you want to increase your lean muscle mass, that's all great. But intertwined in that, again, for more functional reasons of having enjoyable sex and being able to do lots of things and not have physical limitations, so that if you find something that you like, you can keep going with it, add some isometric training in. So the first exercise I'd like you to think about would be a plank. So a plank is like a starting push-up position. It's where you have your hands underneath your shoulders and you're up on your toes, and most people think, okay, you're getting ready to do a push-up. But you don't. You just hold that position. That would be an isometric exercise for your upper body. And actually, it not only works your upper body, so it's going to get your triceps and your shoulders and your chest. It's going to get a little bit of your back because your back muscles are going to stabilize your shoulder girdle. It's also going to get a little bit of abs, and you're going to get a little bit of legs. Your quadriceps are actually, I have a client who texted me today. We did a chest workout, so we did plank on Tuesday, and he reported to me today that he was a little sore in his thighs, which is really interesting to me because we didn't do any specific lower body exercises except some jumping jacks. But so I know it's the plank. Doing the plank, body was resisting gravity, and his body weight's falling toward the ground, and his quadriceps were engaged, and his hip flexors were engaged. So he felt the effects, which is great. So plank can actually work a lot of different muscles and, again, get you used to holding up your body weight and really increase your upper body strength to do something more functional when you have to hold it. All right, legs. Legs, people look at squats and lunges and leg presses, and, again, those are really great exercises for building strength, building really just strength. But, again, oftentimes in the bedroom, you're not moving back and forth with your legs per se, and you might, although I can think of some positions that women would do that, and for that reason, women would definitely benefit from doing squats and lunges, not walking lunges, stationary lunges, and leg presses. But again, what I'd love for you to sprinkle into your workout for your legs as well would also be some isometric, because you're going to find yourself wanting to hold a position and your muscles are going to want to give out because you might not be used to that. Now, also, I have to mention about isometrics. Isometric training is also great for muscle building and lean muscle mass and increasing your metabolism. So I'm not asking you to do an exercise that is just quote-unquote functional in the bedroom exercises, but is also really great for adding unaccustomed stimulus to your body. Let me talk about that for just half a second. When people do exercises, your body adapts. And when your body adapts and you get stronger or faster or whatever it is that you're trying to do with whatever exercise you're choosing, When you adapt, your body stops working as hard and you don't get any more benefit. You get benefit, but you don't get as much benefit. And we want to choose exercises to put your body in a state where it's not good at it. Not that it's horrible. You want to have balance and control, but you don't want it to be necessarily easy, because if it's easy, then there's no requirement for the body to change. So something called unaccustomed stimulus. It's when you add a new exercise. Think back to a time when you may have learned a new exercise or participated in a sport that you haven't done for a long time, and all of a sudden you said, I felt muscles the next day that I forgot I had or that I didn't know I had. I know everyone has experienced it, whether it be exercising, like directly needing to exercise, or doing household chores. I mean, I was scrubbing the floor last week, and I could feel my lat muscles working, and I knew that I was on my hands and knees scrubbing, and I knew that I was going to potentially feel it the next day. So if you're not aware of what muscles are working when you're doing your daily activities or chores or moving or doing something that you haven't done for a while, and all of a sudden you have this evidence of soreness or work in your body, that's because it's called unaccustomed stimulus. You did a new motor pattern that engaged your brain, that engaged muscle fibers that you may not have been using for a long time. And so now you get more results because it's new. You're asking more of the body to come and play the game of exercise and get to stimulate more muscle fibers than you probably use in your other exercises. So unaccustomed stimulus is a good thing. That's how people change their workout program. They do a little bit for maybe 6 months, and then they change it up and do something completely different. And you don't have to go to extremes and do things that are completely different, but there's a way to control and choose your stimulus accordingly and do it efficiently and safe. Definitely want to stress that there's joint integrity here that should be considered. You don't want to do things that wreck your joints in the process, otherwise you're not going to want to exercise anymore.
I want to ask you something, because these are exercises that, as you say, are beneficial to us in other arenas that help us increase our endurance and holding different positions. But we have a question from Sao Jose dos Campos. So I'm not sure where that is, but it actually backs us up. And I'm going to ask it because I think one of the things that your book addresses is very much about the relationship one has with oneself and how critical that is in attracting the relationship, having the quality relationship that you either want or you want to improve the one that you have. So I want to read you the question.
Okay.
What to do when you are timid and don't feel good with intimacy? What can I do if I have some fear of sex, fear of their performance, fear of the smell, fear of the dirty aspect of it?
Let's back up because I want to be clear, and I know you talked about your experience with my book, but let me give everyone a real simple bottom line. If the love of your life, the title of my book is Fit to Love, How to Get Physically, Emotionally, and Spiritually Fit to Attract the Love of Your Life. The love of your life has to start with you. It has to be you, because there's a section called the Body Blueprint that has you look at how you treat yourself. You create the blueprint of how others treat you. So this book is not about changing yourself so that someone will like you. This book is about loving yourself so you will attract someone who loves who you are. Because if you're going to others for approval and looking around for others to validate you and you don't love yourself, then eventually that will backfire, and the people who you are going to have validate you will turn around and potentially take the cue from you and start to disrespect you or treat you in ways that you don't think is very respectful. They're just taking the cue from you. How you treat you is how you tell the world it's okay to treat you. So my first suggestion for this question would be to start looking at your relationship with yourself. And we wanted to start to address the sexual fitness in this call, again, because it's new and it's different, and it gives you a different perspective to look at and evaluate a couple different things in your life. And we haven't gotten to the sexual essence part yet, and we haven't gotten to the emotional part yet, which is probably what's going to answer some of those questions for this gentleman or this person who's writing in. So Fit to Love is not about I'm going to become fit and look good so that someone will love me. That is not the message. The message is to love yourself and treat yourself as you would like to be treated from someone else and attract someone who will love and respect you the same or better than you love and respect you. But it has to be first with you.
it is one of the central themes of your book. That is the foundation, and someone who is having these challenges and issues around sex, the first place where the healing has to come is in their relationship with their own body and all of those things before intimacy becomes really possible. So I felt it was important that you addressed it.
Thank you. No, that's great. And I'm glad that you brought it up, because I hopefully that will change or set the tone a little stronger about where we're going with this information. So if you're having the same feelings or thoughts and you're looking for tricks and tips to be better in the bedroom, but you yourself are not comfortable with yourself or have a certain level of respect and love and acceptance in your own skin, then all the tricks and tools that someone's going to give you may not change what's going on inside of you. We want to get a little deeper and go to the root cause of things and sort of change internally, because that's a lot easier, to be quite honest. People that do all the external things still wonder why they're not happy, or they're not getting what they want, or they're going around and round in relationships that seem to be the same relationship, just different people, because they keep skipping over the really important step of going inside yourself. And this stuff can be really fun. It doesn't have to be scary and draining emotionally or even scary emotionally. It can really be a much more loving, calming, exploratory, in a fun, adventurous kind of way process. As you grow and as love permeates throughout your body, you get to attract people that you would feel comfortable and on a vibrational scale, like, be at the same level with, and that would love and respect you the same. Okay, so the next thing would be hips. Okay, this is a big one. So important for flexibility and range of motion and strength. And most people don't do a lot of hip exercises. So one method of training that I really appreciate, especially for the hip exercises that are included in the new ways of adding resistance and new ways of moving, would definitely be Pilates. Do we have any other questions about physical before I move on?
Actually, I've got one. My husband and I are kind of middle-agey, maybe we're in our 50s, and we're not in great shape. Do you have a recommendation for a starting place to become more fit so that our sex life is better?
A starting point I give you if you're already exercising and if you're not. If you're not doing anything, I guess endurance would be my tip, because you can build muscle strength while you're having sex the more that you do it. So I guess the endurance to continue on would be probably best. I would maybe give you the recommendation of some kind of cardio that is endurance, whether it be walking uphill on the treadmill or walking uphill outside, doing a spin class, doing spinning, something that's longer than 30 minutes, and something to get your heart rate up. On a scale of 1 to 10 for perceived exertion, so 10 is like you're running as fast as you possibly can and you feel like your legs are going to fall off, that's a 10, and 1 would be right now sitting on your couch doing nothing. You want to work around a 7 or 8. You want to challenge yourself. You want to be able to maintain a 7 or an 8 for 30 minutes.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right, the second part of sexual fitness is your sexual essence. This is a huge one. Huge, 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 because especially in today's day and age where, women are so powerful in the workforce and in professions and careers and running in government, wanting to contribute and really be a part of the energy field of making change upon this planet at this time. What happens is we all have masculine and feminine energies. Everybody. Men have it, women have it. Everybody has a certain percentage masculine and a certain percentage feminine. It was born into you. It's the way it is. Now, past that, you can cultivate and practice and get good at or habitualize into one more than the other. Because whether you're in a homosexual or heterosexual relationship or attract whichever sex you are attracted to, you're still going to need to have, in order to have sexual chemistry, you're still going to need to have polarity. It's like opposites attract. It's the magnet, right? Because the different sides don't have polarity. They don't have magnetism. So they're going to have polarity. And so there will be someone who's a dominant feminine energy and a dominant masculine energy. And today, more than ever, women have grown and evolved the way that it's needed to, because there was oppressive times where femininity was oppressed, right, and masculinity. And then we didn't like that, and there were the 60s and the hippies and everybody in the Woodstock, and everybody went the opposite way. And so then women became very proactive in using their masculine energy, and men took on a more feminine, emotional, in touch with their feelings, airy-fairy kind of hippie role, which then led them to eventually have no spine, and women to be too masculine, and men didn't connect. So now we're on to the third stage of sort of combining these, like the Archie Bunker, which would be the first stage, and the sort of hippie, airy-fairy guys and the really strong women movement, and now we're into a time where we want the balance, where women who were femininity and feminism and you really just wanted equality, but in all of those masculine traits that we wanted equality in, that activates your masculine energy. I love my masculine energy. I love feeling purposeful. I love feeling direct and action-oriented. But you know what? I don't have the hormones to support being in my masculine for a long time. And a lot of women, and I know Adelaide can attest to this too, it's called adrenal fatigue. Women, we don't have biologically the same amount of testosterone that a man does. That testosterone is what makes that forceful, kill the deer, go out and hunt and get and produce. That's a masculine tendency. Now, I am not downplaying women having masculine energy and using it, not at all. But what women need to do more than anything is to learn how to activate their feminine energy. Because when I was dating, I have a really wonderful, I have many acupuncturists that I use and love, but this one particular acupuncturist friend of mine, Shahid, we talk about dating, and he'd ask me about what I did and how it was, and and he also knew me in my professional life and in my training life, and he loved me for that too. But on the table, he asked me about, my weekend, and I told him that I'd gone out, and I told him the story of what had happened over the weekend, and he looked at me. Now, this is a man telling me, and he said, JJ, take the badge off and put the gun down. And it was the most, right, it was the most clear comment that he could have made to give me an example and to see that I was dating and going out looking for a man like I was going out looking for a job, or to hunt the deer, or to, build a shed, or to, I'm using masculine energy to date and to attract. And so that's not going to get me what I want, because I don't want a masculine man is not going to be attracted to a masculine woman. It doesn't have the polarity. So in order for me to attract my husband, I had to get into my feminine and reactivate that. And not let go of the masculine, but learn how to balance it and learn when to use it, when not to use it, and not just to use it. I work for myself. Most women entrepreneurs use their masculine energy all the time. And the men in their lives end up becoming more sensitive and a little less masculine, and then they wonder why. And it's because, again, the polarity. In order to have sexual chemistry, there has to be polarity. So your sexual essence is a huge, huge part of that. Now, for men, too, if you're a man and you've been in a relationship or lots of relationships with really strong women, and you wonder what's happened and how come you're not going to attract a more feminine woman, or why those women don't take you seriously, or maybe you're just missing your masculine. You're just feeling like you're missing something. Find ways to activate your masculine and hold that energy if that's what you want to activate. Life may cause you to have to be in one kind of energy. Let's say, for instance, you're a woman and you're an only parent with children, and you have to go to work and you have to be the only parent and play both roles, but yet you want to date and you want to go out there. In fact, that's a friend of mine who I just saw today. She has 3 children. She raised on her own. She takes care of her mother. She takes care of her kids. She takes care of the man who fathered her children. She is the provider. She is the masculine energy. But when she went out to start dating, there was the decision to start dating and to get on dating sites and stuff really infused a desire for her to want to feel more sexual and want to feel better in her body. And she started an exercise program, and she started to go out and tan over the summer and wear her bikini and go to the pool and really tap into that. And now she's, oh my God, she looks amazing, and she's glowing, and she's in a relationship, and she's having a great time. So she's still the provider and the masculine energy, but then at night she flips it off and she becomes feminine and girly and receptive and open and caring and loving, and not that she's not those things anyway, but you understand what I'm saying. That's what this is about. This is about understanding the difference between your masculine and feminine energy and how to tap into it, and that's a practice. Okay, so the third part, on one level, the deepest part, it's the emotional well-being part of your body and your relationship with your body and your acceptance of your body and your level of appreciation with your body and your awareness of your body. And, everyone has a story about it, and definitely being able to change your story and overcome whatever images you have in your mind. And again, this is a much deeper issue than we're going to obviously get into, because there's no specific 1, 2, 3 and you're healed kind of thing, right? Because everyone's different. So there isn't always a need to dig for the problem if you can go straight into starting to see things from a different vantage point. And one of the steps, and I will skip ahead and say the fifth step of Fit to Love is called Thank Your Lucky Stars, and it has to do with appreciation. So you could start there with, if you wanted to go into the emotional work, into the really deep emotional work about finding out what's stopping you or what is underlying that, what's in your subconscious, there's plenty of things you can do. You can do hypnosis. You can obviously do therapy. There's something called EMDR. It's a kind of therapy. Of course, coaching. You could coach and sort of work on that with either some kind of coach. I can help you do some of that. Whatever you feel a calling to do. Now, if you don't want to dig and you don't want to go backwards, which is totally fine and not always necessarily necessary, moving forward, it's really about what energy you practice. If your left hand was your positive hand and your right hand was your negative hand, and all the time you used your right hand, your right hand, your right hand, your right hand, it's like your biceps. So it's really about what you're practicing. So if you get up in the morning and you say bad things to yourself and negative things, and you judge yourself, and while you're putting your clothes on, you just say bad things, this would be a time to start to be aware of that and start to choose to practice something more positive. And the Thank Your Lucky Stars, which is step number 5 of Fit to Love, is about like a gratitude appreciation game. Because there is always something to be appreciative for in every situation. And it's about being able to find it and look at it and see it. And the more you can see it and the more you can start looking for those things, the more of those things that show up. And the easier it gets for you to have a different relationship with your body. It's as simple as, it's like a child. How many people have experienced, I'm sure you have, a child that maybe falls down or you take the toy away and they instantly cry, and then you say, hey, look over here, or hey, look at this thing, and then they immediately move their head and now there's a smile on their face. They were crying 3 seconds ago, and now because they changed their focus and they changed what they were looking at and what they gave their attention to, they immediately shifted. And you can do the same thing. So you can start today, right now, emotionally shifting with the relationship with your body by honoring the things that you can be appreciative for. You're breathing. You're here. You can hear me. You're on a call. You could dial. There's so many little things that add up to huge things. So that would be my recommendation, because obviously your emotional well-being and your emotional relationship with your body is a big, big, big topic. So, and it won't be covered in 1 call or 10 calls, because it's really one-on-one kind of work.
I just wanted to mention that one of the things that is really enjoyable about your book is the way you tell a story from the male and then the female point of view. JJ, thank you so much for the call. Thank you for sharing how we can become sexually fit and the different aspects of it, and taking us back to that really critical place that everything starts with our loving ourselves, and becoming sexually fit is part of that, and how powerful it is in our relationships. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank everyone for coming to the call.
If you are tired of trying diet after diet to only repeat the same patterns, consider the 6-week Beachbody hypnosis-based program. The 6-week Beachbody program tackles weight loss from the inside out. Visit the products page on fittolove.tv to download it now. The Fit to Love podcast show offers you 6 days a week of helpful content to achieve the happy life you deserve. Movement Mondays and Tasty Tuesdays are weekly videocasts, while Wellness Wednesdays, Thoughtful Thursdays, Freedom Fridays, and Sexy Saturdays are audio-only shows themed every week to address your holistic life and needs. If the show inspired you, we would love for you to share it and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us today. Head on over to fittolove.tv for recaps of every show, resources, and to join the community. That's FIT, the number 2, LOVE.tv. Have a fit and fabulous day.